We begin the news in Nigeria's southeast, where the Speaker of the Edo State House of Assembly, Blessing Agbebaku, has suspended 3 lawmakers with immediate effect. The suspension came over allegations of an impeachment plot to remove the Speaker and some other principal officers' counsel of the House. The 3 suspended lawmakers are Donald Okogbe, PDP Akoko Edo, Bright Iyamu, PDP Orimo 1 South, and Ade Isibo, Eshon Northeast 1. Now, during the sit-in at the Assembly complex, Agbebaku insisted that 3 suspended members were being backed by some persons outside the Assembly to foment trouble and remove the leadership of the House. He also alleged that some persons brought native doctors into the House at midnight on May 1st, 2024 to make some demonic incantations and dropped charms in the Assembly complex. Former Speaker of Abia House of Assembly, Chinedum Orji, has officially joined the All Progressives Congress Party. Now, Orji was at the State Party Secretariat in Umuahia a while ago to pick his membership form after he tendered his resignation letter to the PDP party chairman in the state. Orji, who contested the Ikwano Umuahia federal constituency seat and lost in the last election, along with the deputy governorship candidate for the PDP in the 2023 election in Abia State, Jasper Uche, had earlier been reported to have resigned their membership of the party. Away from that, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has arrested 6 senior officers of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps over alleged 6 billion naira fraud. The senior officers are currently being grilled by EFCC interrogators at the Commission's headquarters in Jabi, Abuja. Though details of the probe are still sketchy, the NSCDC officers were handed over to the EFCC on Monday on the order of the NSCDC Commandant General Ahmed Audi. Now, this comes after the EFCC chairman, Ola Olukoyede, had earlier written a statement or a letter to the NCDC CG demanding the officers' release for interrogation. The Central Bank of Nigeria has instructed banks in the country to implement a cybersecurity levy on transactions. According to a circular issued by the Central Bank on Monday, the levy will be implemented starting 2 weeks from now. The directive applies to commercial, merchant, non-interest and payment service banks, as well as other financial institutions, mobile money operators, and payment service providers. Now, exempted from the levy include loan disbursements and repayments, salary payments, intra-account transfers within the same bank or between different banks for the same customer, intra-bank transfers between customers of the same bank. Now, also exempted from the levy were inter-branch transfers within a bank, check clearing and settlements, letters of credits, banks recapitalization, related funding, only bulk funds movement from collection accounts, savings and deposits, including transactions involving long-term investments, among others. Now, we'll be going back to the PDP crisis, where the former Abia Assembly Speaker Chinedum Orji resigned from the PDP and also joined the APC. Joining me on the news to discuss this is a PDP chieftain and former Commissioner for Information in Abia State, John Oki-Kalu. Hello, John. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Good afternoon. All right, so what is your thought on the implications of Right Honorable Chinedum Orji's resignation from the PDP and his defection to the APC, given his prominent role as the immediate past Speaker of the Abia State House of Assembly?
I think it is a Nigerian brand of democracy at work. In Nigeria, I don't think it is a very important news that someone is leaving from one political party to another. It is the way our democracy functions at the moment. So the decision to move one way or another is a personal decision. And as people are leaving the PDP, others are coming back. Since yesterday that those who left announced their exit. Many more have rejoined the party across the state. Many more have rejoined the party across the state. So I think it's democracy at work, and there is nothing to worry about.
Well, you talk about it not being a big deal, but these are prominent people resigning, and Jasper Uche's resignation as deputy governor candidate has also raised eyebrows. Do you think there's more to the story that meets the eye? What might have driven him to leave the party? That's Jasper.
Jasper Uche, I think, joined PDP about a year to the time he was nominated. He was always in APC up to a year before the time he was nominated to be the running mate to our governorship candidate. Now, if he has chosen for whatever reason to return to the party where he was, I'm not sure it's a big deal for us. The reason is this. As people are leaving, many more are joining. And you cannot abridge the individual's rights to make a choice, political choice, to move one way or another. And I am telling you that as of this morning, their exit from PDP sparked a massive inflow into PDP. We will be announcing shortly those who have joined PDP, very big men and women, people who believe in the new PDP in Abia State, those who want to contribute to PDP in different ways. They have rejoined PDP from APC and ABGA, ADC, and different political parties. So people should watch this space to see what we are going to do in response. But for us, we wish those who have exited very well. We acknowledge the fact that they recognize that it was the PDP that gave them the platform to further their political ambition. If they now find reason to leave, my prediction is that in about 2 years, more than 95% of them will return to Abia PDP.
Well, John, I know you've said again that, it's not a big deal, but these high-profile resignations have actually had people talking. Aren't you worried about that? How do you think that, or don't you think that they would affect the PDP's chances, especially in the upcoming elections? Won't it be a blow to their credibility?
We are about 3 years away from the next election. I don't want to go back and litigate what happened during the last election. Maybe that will show you whether those people actually supported PDP during the last election or not. What is important to me is that even in that election with a fractured house, PDP came out with a majority of seats in the State House of Assembly. Let us wait and see what will happen in the next 2 years. We are still about 3 years away from the next election. The truth is that the PDP umbrella in Abia State is a democratic umbrella. The party PDP is a party where people are free to come in and join, and others are free to exit. That people have taken this decision. I am telling you that there is celebration in Abia right now, that a lot of people are happy that they can now join PDP. Because, I don't know, some of those people involved in this exit, people that maybe because of them, some persons didn't want to join PDP. Let me be clear on this. Some of them are, my friends and associates. Some of them are not, they are very good people. Others are who they are, maybe mercantile politicians. There are reasons, many reasons why people want to leave. And I'm not here to begrudge anybody the right to do so. The former speaker, Chinedu Moji, remains my friend. But the fact is this, people come, people go, barrack remain. The barrack in this case is the People's Democratic Party in Abia State. As they are exiting, be assured that many more will join PDP in the coming days. We have a new PDP. This is a PDP that is undergoing self-cleansing after what happened during the 2023 election round. And we are happy that this self-cleansing is going in the right direction all around. And we'll be coming out with details on the new membership so that you will see whether those who have rejoined are not even of bigger weight, political weight, than those who have exited. At this time, we are happy where we are.
John, still talking about, the rumblings of discontent within the PDP. You did say that, there's still celebrations everywhere concerning those who are leaving. And you sound quite content about, those leaving. I'm actually tempted to ask that there are also rumors that the former governor Okezie Ikpeazu would resign from the party as well. How true is this?
There is no currency to that rumor. Governor Okezie Ikpeazu, former Governor Okezie Ikpeazu, remains a member of PDP, even for the foreseeable future. He is grateful to the party that gave him the platform to become a two-term governor. What he's doing right now is to work very hard with the rest of us to make sure that that platform remains available to the next generation so that those with political ambition can also use that platform to further that ambition. So I can tell you emphatically, as someone who worked with him in the past and someone who is still very close to him, that he has no intention to join any other political party. The mere fact that people are contemplating giving him appointment does not mean that he must jettison PDP to take that appointment. A lot of people do not know that former Governor Okezie Ikpeazu has a lot to bring to the table in terms of leadership, in terms of his qualifications as a technocrat. He is a PhD holder in clinical biochemistry. Aside from that, he has other local and international qualifications. Wherever, if you want him to join your administration, you must recognize too that he's a member of the People's Democratic Party. And if your own rule says that he must decamp before he can accept a position, there is this high likelihood that he will not accept it because he is a grateful man. He's a man who recognized that a party like PDP should not be dumped anyhow because that party gave him, a lot as a person, and he's grateful and he's willing to work hard for us to reposition PDP and win all other elections as they come up. And let me assure you, my good sister, that we are getting stronger and better with what is happening internally.
All right. Well, thank you for that clarification. And you did say to watch this space. So we'll keep our fingers crossed and see who leaves the PDP in Abia State next and who joins the PDP. Thank you so much, John, for joining us and speaking to us on this.
Thank you very much for having me. And remember, about 30 persons left. 30 persons won't make up to a polling unit. That means we still have the numbers, over 300,000 registered members. We lost 30 persons. We are very strong. We are still very strong. Still the strongest political party in our state.
All right, that's good to know. Thank you so much. All right, moving away from that, we would be discussing on the cybersecurity levy on banks and how the CBN has mandated a 0.5% deduction on transactions. And joining me on the news to discuss this is CEO Ashare Investment, Mukhtar Mohammed. Hello, Mukhtar. Thank you so much for joining me at this time.
Thank you for having me at this time too. Thank you.
All right. So, Mukhtar, I seem to love the name Ashare a lot. But then, what was your reaction when you first read or even heard of the new cybersecurity levy? What did you make of it?
Well, it's funny because you are saying you want us to be going digital, you don't want to crowd the banking space, and now you are giving us options to not go digital because you are saying every transaction I do electronically from the comfort of my house, I have to pay 0.05%. For me, it's not, this government is a government. I mean, I don't know who said this. It's an act that was supposed to be into law. It has been signed and was agreed before they came in, but that doesn't mean if it was agreed was the right thing to do. But again, they are now saying what really concerns me more is that this money is not going to the banks. This money is going to the Office of the National Security Advisor. So what will that money be used for? And this is the same thing that we said about in the area of when we talked about security votes that governors are not accepted to account for. So what is the 0.05% will be used at the Office of the National Security Advisor? What will this money be used for? Is it to defend the cyberspace of Nigeria? Am I supposed to pay for that? So it's it's same of same, because I just see a government that a lot of people thought is coming up with a different in terms of the kind of caliber of Mr. President. But they seem to be doing what all other governments have done before. They are not even thinking of the Nigerian people. Even if they have come out with some other measures to say you are exempted, you are not exempted. But I don't just think it's right, especially when we are looking at area of financial inclusion. We are looking at using fintech like other developed economic has done in the world. It's not, I don't think this policy, especially now again that the CBN is even fighting to maintain stability in the FX market.
Okay. Now, in addition to that, let's not forget that Nigeria's inflation is at a 28-year high of 33.2% in March. Now, the earnings of many Nigerians have been eroded due to that. Don't you think that Nigerians are being pushed to the wall when it comes to, this new cybersecurity levy?
Of course, we are being pushed to the wall. We're keep being pushed to the wall, and they are pushing us the more, because what it means is that our cost of doing business has gone high again. Because if I'm paying 0.05 on any transaction, I'll pass the cost to my consumers. So we are here fighting that we are trying to control inflation, but we are putting more pressure on goods and services. So I don't know, maybe when they get to government, people tend to forget their thinking cap and just think about revenue, revenue, revenue. Like I'm saying, the money is going to the Office of the National Security Advisor to be used for what? When did the National Security Advisor Office now will be getting funds from Nigerians that are doing legitimate transactions? So I'll be paying the Office of the National Security Advisor for what? And now what you are trying to tell me now is, if I'm going to be paying the National Security Advisor for cyber crime, maybe somebody I have to take money from my account without me knowing. Now, is it the Office of National Security Advisor that is going to pay me back that money since they are in charge of cyber crime? Or do I have to go back to my bank? Look, it doesn't add up at all. It doesn't add up at all. I think Nigerians are being taken for granted and being pushed by the war, because it seems that this government is more interested in earning money, getting money. Even at a point now, I think even they have to drill money from the blood of every Nigerian, they will do same.
Well, Mukhtar, I remember earlier you talking about the security votes, and also in 2024, there's a budget for security, and they got 3 trillion naira. Has the government finished spending this money in May already?
Well, I'm not part of that government. Maybe they are finished, or maybe they want to have more. That is not enough, because the Office of the National Security Advisor always have a budget through the presidency. And now they are saying that we should be paying another money to them, and it goes to them for doing what? For protecting the cyberspace. So what is the work of government? Government is all about security and prosperity. So if government cannot protect the cyberspace, it will take Nigeria paying to protect the cyberspace. It's a pity. It's a pity.
All right, it seems you and I have more questions that need to be answered. But until we get the answers that we deserve, thank you so much for joining us and speaking to us on this.
Thank you so much for having me.
With that, we'll take a quick break. And when we come back, News Central Now continues. Stay with us. Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us. The management and staff of the Plateau State University, Bokos, have restated the need for enhanced security in and around the institution for the safety of both students and staff. Vice Chancellor of the university, Professor Shadrach Best, made this plea when he received Governor Caleb Mutfwang on his visit to commiserate with the university on the loss of 2 of their students in the last attacks in Bokos local government area. News Central's Chizoba Nyongwe was there and now tells us more.
This is not the first time students of the Plateau State University Bokos are being affected by the recurrent attacks in the state. Though clarifying that the affected students were not attacked within the school premises, nor by the military as earlier claimed in some quarters, the Vice Chancellor is asking for measures to improve on the security architecture of the school.
We have a growing culture of substance abuse in the neighborhood where the university is domiciled. But our greatest challenge is the perimeter fence and the lack of accommodation for our students, the inadequate accommodation. As a result of which, over 93% of the students live outside the university premises. And because of that, it makes it difficult for us to control their behavior, whether socially or morally, and many of them tend to be erratic. If they are within the confines of the university, which is fenced, and where they are housed, discipline would be easier for us to control.
It was the governor's first official visit after returning from an official trip abroad. He commended security chiefs on the Plateau for their efforts in stemming the tides of violence in the state, while urging stakeholders to collaborate with them for a more peaceful Plateau.
Let me assure you that where we find any of the security agents wanting, we will not hesitate to take it up with superior authorities. But we must thank them because they are also exposing their lives to danger. Some of you will find it easy to say, we don't want the army again, we don't want the army again. Let me tell you, if the army was not here, we may not be here in this way. Let's be honest to ourselves. What we need to do is to find ways of encouraging, motivating, and making sure that we cultivate the best of relationships with them.
If words will be matched with actions, then community members, students, and staff of this university would heave a sigh of relief, noting the assurances and reassurances given by the state governor that this security presence you're seeing behind me will be maintained as well as sustained for their safety. From Bokos local government area of Plateau State, Chizoba Anyonwe, reporting for News Central.
Thank you, Chizoba, for that report. Now, the governor of Delta State, South Nigeria, Sheriff Oborewari, has reawakened Servicom initiative in the state civil service to ensure optimum service delivery of state workforce across ministries, departments, agencies, and local government councils in the state. Executive Assistant to the Governor on Public Enlightenment, Projects and Policies, Olisa Ifejika, disclosed this at a news conference in Asaba on Monday. While urging the public servants in the state to brace up to the new normal, Ifejika said Servicom had been around for over the years but had failed to make the necessary impact in ensuring quality service delivery. The former Chief Press Secretary to former Governor Ifeanyi Okowa said that workers in the state had been adequately motivated to ensure that they provide optimum service while discharging their responsibilities.
Public service is the blood of government. It is a brain box. Politicians will come with their positions, governor, commissioners, ministers, they will come and go, but the public service remains there. Like I said, it's a brain box. And when you have a corrupt, undisciplined, irresponsible public service, the government of that day is doomed, especially when it fails to take some drastic measures that will put things in place to make sure that the ideas that will be enunciated by that administration are driven properly. If you allow them, not too right. So beyond
The 5th Industry Summit and Awards held recently in Lagos, Nigeria, that's the annual event organized by the industry newspaper, fosters idea sharing, networking, and recognition of top brands in the marketing communications space. News Central's Perpetua Fasomi Peter was there and now reports.
The Industry Awards recognizes outstanding brands and professionals in various sectors, which include media, technology, banking, manufacturing, advertising, public relations, government agencies, and academia, among others.
Tonight is about celebration of creativity, celebration of hard work, celebration of building brand, continuous building of brands. Tonight is a celebration of what all these people have been doing since last year.
News Central Television, a leading pan-African television station which operates out of Lagos, Nigeria, emerged as one of the biggest winners of the night.
It's good to see that the work we put in on behalf of the teams and all of that, people are watching and people are beginning to recognize the brand. So yeah, it makes us feel good.
Representing a wide range of industries, the other awardees expressed their heartfelt appreciation to the organizers for acknowledging their achievements over the past year.
At M778, we like to take our clients, personally. We don't just treat them like, clients. We like to get to know them, get to know their pain points so we can provide solutions for them, and that has been our strategy for a long time now.
The hard work we are putting in is paid off, is it? So feel good and, drive to do more for the brand and ecosystem generally.
We're excited to be honored as a sustainable energy company today. For us, we've done so much. We've impacted Nigeria a great deal. And if we're being awarded here today, it's to show that we're doing a good job. So we are appreciative. We're committed to doing more, and we will not cease to do what we do as a company. Yeah.
When you ask around, we are top leaders in the market. So, it's a good thing. It's a thing of joy that we are being given recognition that we actually truly deserve in the industry.
The 5th Industry Summit and Awards championed sustainable marketing for growth as a driving force. This theme positioned sustainable marketing as a purpose-oriented approach guiding businesses, brands and society on a path to a long-term sustainable future. In Lagos, for News Central, Perpetua Faslami Peter.
Coming up after the break. Deadly building collapse leaves scores trapped in South Africa. We'll bring you details in a moment. Now we head to East Africa, where the death toll from weeks of relentless rains and floods in Kenya has climbed to 228 as authorities warn of continued crisis conditions. Despite escaping major damage from a tropical cyclone that weakened after hitting land, Kenya and neighboring Tanzania are still grappling with torrential downpours and the looming threat of further floods and landslides. In western Kenya, the river Nyando overflowed early Sunday, overwhelming a police station, school, hospital and market in Ahero, Kisumu County. While there are no immediate reports of casualties, local police caution that water levels are still rising, with the main bridge outside Kisumu along the Nairobi Highway submerged. Now joining me on the news from Kenya to discuss this is governance and public policy consultant Stephen Nduvi. Hello Stephen, thank you for joining us.
Hello, thank you for hosting me today.
All right, so reports indicate that the death toll, has now risen to 228. Quite sad, that's as a result of the flood. What else is happening that we don't know?
Thank you, and let me first begin by condoling with those who have been affected by the extreme floods in Kenya. As you have said, the displacement and those who have been killed is quite substantial. And one of the things the floods are reminding us as policymakers is that there is an intricate relationship between, climate change and what is currently happening, and the need for, a systems approach when dealing with the entire issue. I must say that these floods have affected livelihoods to a greater extent. As we talk now, the schools have not been able to open because of the disruptions of the floods. So pupils and students are still at home. Businesses and the transport sector trading activities have also been adversely affected by the floods. And this necessitates the need for policymakers, especially the government and the private sector, together with the civil society, to come together to one table and plan for lasting solutions to manage floods in the country, since this is not just a phenomena in isolation. In 2023, we had the El Nino, and we also went through the same. But the lessons have not been entirely taken into practice, though we appreciate the level the government has undertaken to, address this crisis.
Okay.
For instance,
Stephen, just before you go ahead, aside, you said you blamed climate change for this crisis and the El Nino phenomenon. But do you think that there are other factors that are responsible for this flood that has claimed so many lives?
Yes, there are other underlying factors because, for instance, I live in the capital city of Kenya, Nairobi, where we have the booming population, where the population is competing with the availability of spaces. So essentially, in the capital city of Nairobi, I tend to connect these serious floods that have taken place in residential areas and even along the public transport infrastructure to inappropriate planning. That is, we have a disconnect between urban planning and the way we are supposed to, envision other effects, like when it rains, where do we channel the rainwater that is flooding all over? So besides that, we also lack awareness on what citizens are supposed to do in case of flash floods that have been happening across the country, because many people, they lost lives as a result of lack of awareness, or perhaps inadequate awareness on how you should behave in times of disasters like the floods we have in Kenya. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you so much, Stephen, for joining us and speaking to us on this. We appreciate you for your time.
Thank you so much.
In South Africa, a 5-story building under construction collapsed, killing 4 people and leaving at least 50 trapped. Officials in the city of George, Western Cape Province, say 24 people have been pulled from the wreckage and taken to hospital. The cause of the incident in the coastal city is being investigated. Now, 2 of the 22 people pulled from the wreckage died of their injuries, while another 2 deaths were reported later. More than 100 rescuers with sniffer dogs worked through the night to locate those trapped in the building. Heavy lifting equipment is being used to assist the operation. Officials say they had been able to establish contact with some of those under the rubble. Still in South Africa, the Umkhonto weSizwe Party founder, Jabulani Khumalo, has written to the Independent Electoral Commission to urgently remove Jacob Zuma as the party's face and president. Now, in a letter, Khumalo said Jacob Zuma occupied both positions through fraudulent and illegal maneuvers. He said the plan was for Zuma to only campaign for the MK, as he assisted in contributing in raising funds for the registration. This step by Jabulani Khumalo comes after he was expelled as the member of the party together with the other 4 members. The South African Church Council, in partnership with the Independent Electoral Commission over the weekend, took part in National Day of Prayer ahead of elections at the Grace Bible Church in Soweto. The aim of it was to bring the nation together in a moment of earnest prayer for a peaceful election process underpinned by integrity and free of intimidation. South Africa will be heading to the polls on Sunday, the 29th of May. News Central's Bongani Siziba has more.
In a time of uncertainty and tensions between political parties in the lead-up to the elections, this gathering is a rare moment of solidarity as political leaders, churches, and citizens set their differences aside to seek divine intervention for a peaceful electoral process.
This is important because the elections is a serious national effort. It is something that we do together as a nation to choose those people that are going to govern us and hold each other accountable in the National Assembly for the next 5 years. We do pray them because we think that's a serious decision to make for any country. And that South Africa, which possesses 80% of people of faith, has committed itself to pray so that God gives us wisdom as we descend.
It's a vote of confidence in the relevant political parties that are here, and also, a signal of hope, particularly by the relevant churches that were present here today, to say that political leadership does matter and that governance does matter.
Church leaders prayed for the party leaders, law enforcement agencies, journalists, and citizens alike.
This is why we stand together and pray for the Independent Electoral Commission, that it performs its constitutional mandate with utmost integrity. This is why we pray for the South African Police Service, for it to be a service that contributes to a sense of security for all citizens, regardless of their political party allegiances. This is why we pray that those who operate in the media, especially journalists, who have the responsibility to help inform the citizens, to do so with integrity.
Despite the challenges and conflicts, the prayers by these congregates show the spirit of unity and hope to carry South Africa to the future.
It's important to pray always. We know the impact that prayer has done to our nation.
The church leaders also called for those in power to save the people and stop corruption. However, outside this hall, the political landscape remains fraught with conflict as parties jostling in the race for power. The Electoral Commission says it has done all it can to fully prepare for the elections. The police commissioner enjoined citizens to uphold the rule of law while expressing the commitment of law enforcement agencies to deal with unlawfulness on the day.
In terms of the Constitution, Section 205 directs us that we must prevent, combat, and investigate crime. We must maintain public order. We must protect the inhabitants of the Republic and their property. And we must uphold and enforce the law. We will be doing exactly that, but however, we need the support of everybody.
In Soweto, for News Central, Bongani Siziba.
Now, in commemoration of the killing of millions of Jews during the Holocaust, the Jewish community in South Africa came together to commemorate this day. In 1933, the Jews woke up to their worst nightmare when the Nazi German government invaded their hometowns. Among those gathered are survivors who have come out to share and relieve their painful past. Again, Bongani Siziba has more on this story.
Why I'm among the graves, but a day for the Jewish community in Johannesburg, we have come together to honor the memory of those who perished in the Holocaust, a tragic chapter in history where millions of Jews were killed by Nazi Germany.
I've been at this ceremony since I was 15. I'm 56 now. Every single year, I've not missed a year. Unfortunately, this happened. It was an atrocity. It was a time that the world was very dark and very ugly. There wasn't social media. There wasn't this ability to get the message out quickly. People wanted to exterminate and kill the Jews because they were Jewish, and we need to stand up proud. We need to stand resolute, and we will continue doing it. We need to remember but never forget.
So thank you for being part of recording this and getting our message out for a better world, and in memory of our own great man, Mandela, who said, instead of vengeance and hatred, I chose reconciliation and nation building.
In attendance were the Holocaust survivors who took turn to light remembrance lamps in memories of those that died.
I remember every single day and every single night, and I dream about it, and I remember everything that happened, and I had an awful grandmother who used to take me to the forest to see the wonderful Germans killing the horrible Jews. And I kept saying, but they're children there. How can you kill children? Children aren't horrible, but they'll grow up to be horrible. You talk too much. And then she took me out the forest.
Many people died there of typhus. That was the illness that took away a lot of people. And I don't want to tell the whole story again.
You know, we have to remember what's happening. And I mean, it's happening all over again in Israel now. It's like it all comes back again. Very, very important.
The survivors' words here echoes those of Rin Quint, another Holocaust survivor I met in Israel, who shared her story with me and gave me this book, a daughter of many mothers. I read through Rin's book. One paragraph in particular resonated with me, and it reads, trying to remember or forget. I had to move forward to survive. I had to sacrifice excruciating memory, cutting away pieces of my heart, chasing the present, and trying to forget.
My story is different because 1.5 million Jewish children were killed. For no reason except that they were Jewish children. 1.5 million.
Those who were born after the Holocaust resonate with the history.
I do resonate with history because, you know, sadly we live into it today with a lot of anti-Semitism too. And I remember what happened then, and I hope that it will never happen again.
I don't understand how it could happen, and that we need to look forward and make sure it never happens again.
As the Jewish communities gather across the globe to remember and honor the victims of the Holocaust, it is a reminder of the importance of humanity, that it should reign no matter what. From West Park Cemetery in Johannesburg, Bongani Sizeba for News Central.
In the world of sports, two-time Olympic champion Eliud Kipchoge says he feared for the lives of his family during a campaign of online abuse that wrongly linked him to the death of fellow Kenyan marathon runner Kelvin Kiptum. Kiptum, the world record holder who looked set to challenge Kipchoge's dominance over 26.2 miles, died aged 24 in a car crash in February. Some social media users began to speculate that Kipchoge was part of a conspiracy to kill Kiptum, who had lowered the world best to 2 hours 35 seconds last October in Chicago. Kipchoge's initial reaction when he saw the abuse and false rumors was to check whether his family were safe. And that's all at this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of our top stories. We told you that more worries for Nigeria's main opposition, PDP, as two chieftains dump party in Abia State. We also told you that Nigeria's central bank directs banks to charge 0.5% cybersecurity levy. Finally, you heard that South Africa's MK party founder seeks Zuma's removal as party president. Send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. Do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Darshan Usman.